Good afternoon, this is Media Center, Ukraine, Odessa. We continue for today, and the next briefing will be dedicated to the pollution of the Black Sea as a result of the explosion of the Kakhovka hydroelectric power plant. The explosion was on the 6th of June, and we monitored the situation during the first week. After the explosion, we invited specialists to us, and our current guest is Pavlo Bulanovych, Director of the Department of Ecology and Natural Resources of the Odessa Regional Military Administration. So please share more details with us. Good afternoon. Thank you very much for the invitation. We all know what happened on the 6th of June when the military aggression caused man-made catastrophe of the European scale. And the situation developed very quickly after the explosion, and the river waters from Dnipro got to the Odessa Bay, and on the 8th of June we could see the debris and all those items that reached the water. On the 17th of June, these polluted waters just reached the estuary of the Danube River. So we have around 7,000 square kilometers of the polluted water area of the northern and western part of the Black Sea. On the 8th of June, there was the decision made to close water gates on Telegul Liman and on the Kuyalnitsky Liman. It was developed, the algorithm was developed to minimize and to mitigate the consequences of this emergency situation. On the 14th of June, there was the order of the military, of the Odessa military administration to to stop the discharge of the sewage waters and to redirect them to Hadji Liman, which significantly improved the biochemical state of the water, so we stopped the additional desalination of the water. The main burden was on the 9th, on the 10th of June. There was all the thresholds significantly exceeded, like the iron, phosphorus, oil products. So that was the direct contamination of the Black Sea waters. Now we are doing everything possible to control and to monitor the state of the sea water. We could speak here about two components, like biochemical and macrobiological. As for biochemical state, the situation has been positively improving. So now there are almost no areas with the increased thresholds, except for a twofold increase in the solids at Langeron Beach, which could be explained by the contamination by waste. Moreover, so the salination is being decreasing, which is 1213 ppm and 1218. This is the normal state of the Black Sea when it comes to salination. So now we're at the level at 1213 ppm per milli, but this is not stable. The day before yesterday we had 14, yesterday 9, and today is 12. So still there is some fresh water flowing into the Black Sea. That's why the situation is not that stable. But I believe that it could be stabilized in a week. And the salination level will be at the normal seasonal levels, which are standard for summer season. As for microbiology, now we have 100 places where the monitoring center takes samples for the lab testing. The microbiology state of the Black Sea raises certain concerns, because the cholera vibrants were found. They cannot lead to cholera, but these are acute intestinal diseases that could be the results of not following the sanitary rules. The eggs of helminths were also found in Odesa, in Arcadia, Escorids, into Chornomorsk, in the area of the seaport. So there are some concerns now which are related to intestinal diseases and possible failure to follow hygiene rules, because people keep swimming in the sea despite the prohibition, despite the information which is there. People continue swimming there, and they endanger themselves, their relatives, friends, and of course this could lead to some chain of reaction and to the increased level of such disease in the population. And now we say that the fresh water is according to all norms and standards, because water, the tap water, is taken from the Dniester River. It just now meets all the requirements. It can be consumed, because the tap water, fresh water, is not related to the explosion at Kakhovka HPP dam. But this could be a dangerous situation, because the sea is of green color. This is because of the huge amount of green and blue seaweeds. They have been quickly multiplying because of the fresh water getting and desalinated water getting into the Black Sea, and also because of the increased temperature. Almost 1,500 of square kilometers of the Black Sea is blooming now. It is dangerous, because these are toxic seaweeds that could also cause some diseases in people, and they also consume oxygen in the water during multiplication process, and that could lead to dead hydrobionts, bioresources, fish, bullhead, etc. It also destroys the food there, and those water resources that used to eat it, they will go to other areas of the Black Sea. And of course, this cannot but affect the condition of the Black Sea, and this raises some concerns, because we can face the consequences during the next several years. This is generally about the situation, and now I'm ready to answer your questions. Let's try it. In the short-term and long-term, mid-term perspective, do you expect the improving or deteriorating of the situation? Recently, I've talked to an ecologist, environmentalist, and he expects the deterioration of the situation, because those heavy metals from the bottom of the Dnipro River could be brought by the current to the Black Sea. What do you think about this? Is it possible? Yes, it is. But to know for sure, we need to take samples from the bottom. we have agreed with the military, and we have the Institute of Biology of the Southern Seas and also the local authorities and institute that are taking samples. As soon as we have information about the content of heavy metals, we will be able to inform the population, and we will be also be able to prepare a forecast. As for the ecological condition of the Black Sea, I expect the worsened condition because of the blooming, because of the seaweeds, because of the decreased level of oxygen, and the dead like sea animals there. This season will be quite dangerous. We don't know what the conditions in winter, what storms, what other conditions we will have. This is the atmospheric air, winds, but after the winter, in April, in May, we'll be able to make some forecast for the next year. But now, for the long-term perspective, we can say that the blooming is ongoing, and unfortunately, we should expect the worsened quality of the water in the next several months. You say that people keep swimming, and I visited Odesa beaches like several days ago. I saw a lot of people near the water, not so many in the water. Could you tell about the theoretical impact of swimming, because the water can get into our body? Theoretically, these are acute intestinal diseases. Unfortunately, they are infectious, and it doesn't matter how many people continue swimming, because this cannot be used as classifier, because this could be a chain reaction when we can see the progress of the diseases. I am not a sanitary doctor. I cannot provide information about the classification of these diseases, but the acute intestinal diseases, this is our possibility if people continue swimming in the Black Sea. The acts of helminths were found not only in the water, but also on the sand. That's why staying on the sand cannot save you from these diseases. Everything is possible because water is polluted, environment is polluted, and it can lead to some negative results for people. So, and the pollution also means that the ban on fishing is still there in the Black Sea and all in those reservoirs, basins which are connected to the Black Sea. Yes, because the water biosources and fish just transmits such diseases, because if the fish is ill and someone consumes it, and the people can get something from the fish. And this is also about reptines, mussels, and other natural filters, because the first to be polluted. That's why the prohibition is still there. It is not recommended to buy and to eat fish. The relevant service now controls the places of trade, markets, just to avoid such situations in the future. Thank you. And the last question about what you can learn from your colleagues from other administrations, because the catastrophe started on the territory of Dnipro, Kherson, Zaporizhia regions. Perhaps they also analyzed the situation. Perhaps they have already taken the samples from the bottom. We do not information about the results of such testing. We also have information about biochemistry, and these tests are provided by the territory of the state ecology inspection. The situation is more or less settled, so the thresholds are not exceeded, and we cannot, unfortunately, test the salinity, but all these like iron and other substances are like at the normal level, but they have been brought to the Black Sea, and they're still there. Maybe the concentration is not very high, but they are still there anyway. Thank you. Thank you. That was briefing dedicated to the ecological impact of the explosion at the Kakhovka hydroelectric power plant. We hope to see you here again with more optimistic news. Thank you. That was the last briefing for today, and please follow our announcements and stay tuned.